Let's talk. You know, people often say that they appreciate my sense of humor, and people often say that they don't appreciate my sense of humor. I want to come from a little different place today. You see, we are standing on the verge of greatness. This ministry is standing on the verge of greatness. We are moving into the unknown. We are grieving. We are excited. We are fearful. And as we continue our search for a new senior minister, we go through all of these emotions, and they're all okay. We may go through them one after another. We may go through them in different order. But the most important thing is God is calling. And we are standing on the verge of greatness. God is calling. Are we listening? Are we listening? You know, we've been here before, this ministry. This ministry has gone through lots and lots of changes over the many years that it's been here. It began with Reverend Donna Unfried many years ago. She met with that small group of people who said, is there a place for a Unity Church in Overland Park, Kansas? Cindy was there, one of our founding founders, one of our founding members. And since that time, we've had many ministers. You know, I was looking at the history of this ministry, and I don't recall all the names, but I know we had Pete Ray, and I know we had Don Sizer, I know we had Reverend Donna, I know we had Robert Brummett. I think Rosemary Ray was here for a period of time. Mary Omwake, how many of you came here when Mary was here? Yeah. Greg Barrett, how many of you came when Greg was here? Patricia, how many of you have come since Patricia has been here? We've been through change. And we're going through change now, and we will go through change in the future. But we are standing on the edge of greatness. God is calling us. And even though we've been here before, we're in a different place now than we have been before. You know, Reverend Patricia has built a strong foundation for this ministry. And so this foundation is something that we're going to build on as we take our next step, whatever that step is. Just as Patricia, you know, she's taking her step. She is standing on the edge of greatness, and she is moving into the unknown. And I'm sure she's going through all the feelings that we are all experiencing right now. But God is calling her, and she's listening. So as we move forward in these next steps in this ministry, it's going to bring with it the unknown. It's going to bring with it grief, uncertainty, excitement, and fear. All the elements are going to be there. But I have this to share with you. This greatness that we're on the verge of, God is calling us to something higher than we have ever experienced before in this ministry here at Unity Church of Overland Park. And feel the feelings and start becoming aware of the excitement, because something new and wonderful is happening here. Many people have said that we're going through a time of transition, and I've thought about that, and it's something that I've been telling people too. Yes, this is a transitional period for Unity Church of Overland Park. But you are not going to hear the word transition from our ministerial search team anymore. You are not going to hear the word transition from our board members anymore. You're going to hear a different word. You're going to hear the word transformation. You're going to hear that this ministry is moving through a transformation. You see, we are standing on the verge of greatness. As the ministerial search team does its work, they have pulled together information from you. We've had 2 visioning sessions. We had one in May when we asked you, what qualities and attributes are you looking for in a new senior minister? And you said, you want someone who is spiritually mature. You want someone who can build this congregation as something greater than it's ever been before. You want someone who can really attract that what they call the next generation unity, the 18 to 35-ish. I'm in the 35-ish, I think. I may be more on the ish side of the 35, but you want someone who's going to love the kids as we love the kids. We have a strong youth and family program here, so you want a minister who's going to continue to build on that. And these are the things that the ministerial search team is looking at. Someone who has this kind of passion. So this ministry does stand on the verge of greatness. God is calling this ministry, and it's ours to listen. I asked today to have a yellow rose up here, because the yellow rose is symbolic of my ministry. Both my parents are Unity ministers, and when my dad was ordained, he got a red rose. And when my mother was ordained, she got a pink rose. And so when I was ordained, they gave me a yellow rose. And it became very symbolic for me because it's my call from God to go greater, to go deeper than I have ever gone before. So I thought it was appropriate, since we're talking about greatness, to go ahead and have the yellow rose up here with me. So as I think about this ministry and its call to greatness, as I think about my ministry and my call to move forward into whatever that is, I was thinking about you, because you are this ministry. You are the ministry. God is calling you as an individual to something greater than you have ever experienced before. And I'm here to tell you that it's unknown. And there'll be grief. And there'll be excitement. And there'll be fear. But God is calling you, and just listen. Listen to that voice of God. I was so struck at last week's service. If you were here last week, it was a prayer service. We don't have very many prayer services where we ask you to stand and give your prayer requests. And it touched me so deeply, this service, where people were standing and asking for prayers for healing from horrific illnesses that they were going through. And people were asking for prayers for financial security and for jobs and for peace on earth. And I was thinking, here we are gathered together as a spiritual community, supporting each other in prayer. And imagine the power and the prayer of a group of people of this size, just focusing on those prayers for healing and finances and for jobs. I've talked to some of you this week, and some of those prayers have already been answered. And you've used words like miracle, because you've truly stepped into the unknown. We stand on the edge of greatness. So we're going through times of change, not only in the ministry in our own lives. And even in our uncertainty, even in our challenges that we're going through, God is calling us, and God is right there. And I have something I want to share with you. I want you to awaken to the greatness that you are. I want you to listen to that call of God. I want you to take that step to move you into that greatness. And I've got something that will help you move into that step of greatness. And it's going to require that you write this down. So you don't have to write it yet, but start looking for a pad. There's usually pads of paper in the pews. Start looking for a pen or a pencil. If you don't have paper there in front of you, you've got your bulletin. You can just open your bulletin. On the inside it says My Notes. And you can just write this down in your notes. So we'll get to this in a minute. But first I want to tell you a story about Abraham Lincoln. After Abraham Lincoln made his transition, they were looking through the pockets of his jacket, and they found 5 things. They found a Confederate coin. They found a pocket knife that he had had since he was a boy. They had found a handkerchief with the initials A.L. embroidered on it. They had found a memo from his mother. And they had found a folded newspaper article. And the newspaper article was from the London Herald. It was a British writer who wrote the article. And the writer was telling what an amazing leader Abraham Lincoln was during the Civil War period, and the steps to greatness that he took and the call that he listened to lead this country into what he led this country into. And so he kept that folded up in his pocket. You know why? Because he sometimes was going into the unknown, and he sometimes was experiencing feelings of grief, and feelings of excitement, and feelings of fear, and of doubt, and he was getting criticism from a lot of people around him. So anytime he was feeling this doubt and this criticism, he'd pull this newspaper article out, and he'd read it about what this person in Britain wrote about him being such an awesome leader, and all the qualities that he was looking for. So he carried that with him at all times. So I have something I do want you to carry with you at all times. But let me tell you the story behind how this came to be, first of all. It was World War II, and Silent Unity was going to have their Christmas service. And they brought in a young letter writer, and they sat him down and they said, would you write the Christmas service? They had a Christmas service every year at Silent Unity. Silent Unity is our prayer ministry. And so this young writer wrote out the Christmas service, and they had a great Christmas service. After the service, this young writer was called into the director's office of Silent Unity and said, you know, the war is going on, and we need a pamphlet that we can send out to people who are going through this wartime. Would you write the pamphlet? And then on the back of the pamphlet, we want you to write just an affirmation, just a prayer statement. And we would like you to write this prayer statement based on the 23rd Psalm. So he said, sure, he could do that. So he started working on it. A woman came up to him, and she said to him, you know, if I was in England right now, if I was a woman in England and bombs were dropping on my head, or if I was a soldier out in the field and guns were aimed at me, I would not want that line from the 23rd Psalm to be read to me. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death. I'd want something else. Improve on the 23rd Psalm. So this young writer thought about it and prayed about it and remembered the Christmas service that he had written, and remembered a prayer that he had used in the Christmas service. And he thought, well, I don't know. And God kept telling him to take that prayer in the Christmas service and to do something with it. So this young writer took that prayer and changed it a little bit, tweaked it a little bit, changed some of the wording a little bit, and presented it. And this was sent out all over the world. This little prayer is now in Unity publications everywhere. It is now probably used in every Unity church in the world. This little prayer is in thousands and thousands of publications that have nothing to do with Unity. This prayer was taken to the moon. Colonel James Aldrin on Apollo 11 knew that he was being called to something greater, and going to the moon is sort of unknown, and going to the moon can bring up all kinds of feelings within you. And he felt that he really needed something. He was being called by God to do something, and he needed something that he could hang on to take that next step into greatness. And so he took this prayer with him. So I'm going to ask that you write out this prayer. I know you know it. I know you've memorized it. I know some of you don't want to write it. Write it anyway. There's going to be a day when you want this, when you want to have this with you. So really, I'm going to take the time and I want you to write this prayer out. I was thinking about a woman last week whose prayer request last Sunday was for a friend of hers who was going through stage 4 cancer, I think it was. And I thought, how wonderful if she would have had this prayer in her pocket that she could have given to her friend. So what is this prayer? Are you ready? You ready to write this out? Okay. Let's bring the prayer up on the screen. Write it out. I want you to write it out. The light of God surrounds us. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. wherever we are, God is, and all is well. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. And if you're listening to this off our website, write this out. Write it out. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. You see, we're ready to step into greatness, and sometimes we need to know that if we take that step into the vast unknown, if we move into the mystery of the unknown, we need the support. And wouldn't it be wonderful if we really knew that the light of God does surround us, and the love of God does enfold us, the power of God does protect us, the presence of God watches over us, wherever we are, God is, that we can make that step because God is right there with us. God has called us to wherever it is we're going, and we only need to listen and take the step. Okay, so if you wrote this out, if you wrote it in your bulletin, I want to hear this sound as you tear it out. I'm not hearing it. As you prepare to put it in your billfold, to put it in your purse, to put it on your altar at home. You know, I was thinking about this prayer, and I was thinking, this ministry, at the end of this service, we're going to have a bunch of kids come in. And you know what these kids are going to do? They are going to stand up here and they are going to affirm this prayer with the hand gestures that go along with it. How wonderful is it that we are weaving this prayer into the very fabric of their lives so that as they take this step into greatness, they go forth with God's support. The author of the prayer, a man by the name of James Dillett Freeman, Jim became the director of Silent Unity, became known as the poet laureate for all of Unity. And for many years nobody knew who wrote the poem. It was just Silent Unity poem. So I would say to you that we're on the verge of greatness. You as an individual, us as a ministry. Who is our new senior minister going to be? I have no clue. I have no clue, but I have a message for them. A message that was written by James Dillett Freeman. It's a message that I pass many times going up and down the hall. I've read it many times, but I have never really taken it to heart. Jan, would you bring that up? To the new senior minister here at, I hope I can get through this. They brought Kleenex and water up here for a reason for me. To the new senior minister at Unity Church of Overland Park, whoever you are. It's called Blessing for a Church. This is God's house. May we who come here not only find out about God, but find God. May there be beauty in this place, but especially may it be a place where men and women become aware of the beauty within themselves. May this be a place of worship. May this be a place of instruction. May this be a place of singing. May this be a place of prayer. But for us who worship and take instruction and sing and pray, may this always be a place of inner stillness where we may listen and hear when God speaks. May whoever ministers here minister in love. May whoever teaches here teach truth. May whoever serves here serve pleasantly. May everyone come into this house in expectation and go with thanksgiving. And may anyone who comes needing help go feeling blessed. May this be such a house that Jesus Christ or any stranger, even one of the least, would feel in it that he was with friends. Whoever you are, know that when you come to this ministry, that this is God's house. And we are ready to step into greatness with you. Thank you. We are ready to take that next step with you. We are ready to boldly move forward like we have never moved before. We are ready to go higher and deeper than we have ever been before. God is calling us. Are we listening?